Right guys, so I want to make a video about just sort of experience I've had today basically. I'm actually in Oxford at the moment, and this isn't really relevant, but I just had a job interview for a company, and there's a real kind of sense of I guess relief that at least in this interview I felt after it was done, because I don't know, I guess it's quite a stressful experience, and to have it over with felt quite good. And I had this interview with this guy who runs the company, and then I went out for a coffee with some of the people afterwards as a kind of as part of the interview process. And I had a double espresso, and talked to them for a bit, and then went my own way. And I was walking back, and that espresso was making its way into my stomach, and sort of heightening my senses, and it sort of lifted my already rather jovial mood of this interview. Having, it's difficult to know how a job interview's gone most of the time, but in any case, the interview being over and it not having gone awfully, and walking through Oxford, it's a beautiful city, sort of imagining myself living here, feeling quite optimistic about it, and just being in a really good mood. And it's funny because I found I was really joking to myself a lot, and it's times like these when I'm in a good mood and I'm feeling lighthearted and my spirits are up, that I really recognise that I have a really jovial and jokey and sort of carefree side to me. And one of the sad things is that I don't really show this to other people a lot. Like, I was just wandering around Oxford, and I was just making jokes to myself in my head. Like, I remember I walked past the college that I interviewed at, because when I was 17, I applied to Oxford, and I interviewed at one of the colleges. It's called Avoidant College, and it's funny, I don't think I would really fit in there nowadays, but anyway, I walked past it, and there was a big sign outside, and a lot of these colleges, they say stuff like, only certain people can come in, guided tours, or only students can come in. And I just thought to myself, what does the sign say? No riffraff. And obviously it doesn't come across very well in this format, but I just thought that to myself in my head. And at that exact moment, I thought, I just kind of wish there was someone there that I could have made that joke to in my head. And it's funny because the truth is, if someone had been there, as I had wished, I wouldn't have made that joke, because my brain wouldn't have been in that jovial state that it was in. And this isn't, regardless, I was in a good mood anyway, but even if the exact same things had happened, I'd had a good interview, I'd had an espresso, I don't think I would have recreated that sort of jovial atmosphere I had inside my head if I was with someone else. I don't think I would have been like that. I would have been constantly worried about what they were thinking. And this isn't to say that I'm bad company around people. Generally I think I'm quite good company, but there's a certain side of me, a certain jovial, light-hearted side that very few people have really ever seen. And that's a real shame, because I think I've decided that I'd love to enjoy life where I could have this sort of jovial experience and share it with other people. I think it would do wonders for my sense of happiness and fulfillment. And a lot of people who are watching this might not relate, might have clicked off already. If you're still watching this video, maybe there's something that you relate to as well. And this gets me to the next part of the video, which is I actually went into just by pure coincidence, well, is it coincidence really? I went into a bookshop today and I bought the book Attached by, it's by two people, Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, both quite well-known, quite well-respected psychologists. And so anyway, I bought this book, and this book is all about sort of attachment styles. And my feeling is that the reason I'm not jovial and sort of light-hearted and jokey and funny around other people is because I go into this kind of zone where I worry what people think of me too much. And attachment style, I mean, attachment relates more to relationships, but I just got to get this train. Attachment relates more to relationships, but does have a lot to do with friendships as well. And let's have a look. A big source of negative relationships can be you're very sort of anxious, attached. You're constantly worrying what your partner thinks of you. You're constantly worried that they're going to run off because you're going to show too much of yourself. That's at the root of a lot of unhappy relationships, is someone has a sort of anxious attachment style. And you know, I've sort of looked into this a bit and I'm excited to dive into a proper book about it, but I think this is the reason, is I basically worry too much of what I think other people think of me, and I'm worried if I show too much of myself, they're going to sort of abandon me. Which sounds a bit deep. Like, it's not really like, don't want to make it out to be worse than it is, but I do think it's a significant thing to think about. Train's just going fast. Yeah, so anyway guys, if there's anything I've said in this video that you relate to at all, I would encourage you to do what I'm doing and look into your attachment style. There's a great guy online called Adam Lane Smith, talks a lot about this stuff, and I remember the first time I listened to him, it was like a kind of revelation. And what he was talking about. So it's funny because a lot of the self-improvement space, it talks about, particularly with regards to relationships, it talks about, having a good physique, being good at chatting up women, and those stuff are great, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of it is quite periphery, and the real hard work is your sort of internal beliefs about relationships and about yourself. And I think if you fix your attachment style, then all the rest of the stuff, the physique, the being able to chat up women, your game, your charisma, your status, your ability to do stuff that women find attractive, all that stuff just comes naturally. That's the easy stuff, that's the fun stuff. But the hard stuff is the kind of internal beliefs, and it sounds all a bit wishy-washy. But I think often we just hijack ourselves by thinking it is, that it is just hard work. And often the problem is you've got to step back and re-examine things. So that's what I'm basically saying, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it.